Hello everyone, and good morning. I hope you're all not too hungover, but feel free to have a sleep. It's all good. Now, I've got a ton of content to get through today, so hopefully, CT, are you ready? Oh my God. Thank you. It's funny, I always find this joke much funnier than the audience. So today I'm going to be talking a lot about SERP features and how you can use those to your advantage. But what exactly are those SERP features when I'm talking about them? So basically, Google will take content, your content in a lot of times, and then enrich them and use that as a sort of user-optimized way to provide meaning and to satisfy users' intents on the SERPs. So here's an example for cake, which is a very rich result, because Google can't quite figure out what the intent is of the searcher. Are SERP features bad for my SEO? Well, like everything in SEO, it depends. Actually, the last speaker to stand on this stage at BrightonSEO was Rand Fishkin. What an honor that I'm following there. And he gave a pretty sort of terrifying talk about the reality of these heavy search features. There's a great recap there by Deepcrawl you should check out if you didn't see it. And basically, Rand's data found that 72% of searches on mobile were resulting in no clicks, and 34% on desktop. And a more recent study showed that in the UK and Europe, 55% of mobile searches resulted in no click because of all these heavy SERP features that are satisfying the users directly on the SERPs. Pretty scary, right? But don't worry, it's not all bad. But there are some things that you still need to consider in order to drive traffic and win those clicks in today's SEO world. So in 2019, basically you need to focus and spend effort on enriching those snippets that you have out there and your SERP feature presence to increase your click-through rate. You also need to focus on bringing the right kind of traffic, and that's very important to remember, because yes, you can go out there and target these heavy volume keywords and drive a lot of clicks, but if they're not engaging with your site, if they're bouncing back to the SERPs, then that's it's not a very valuable visit for you either. Also, avoid time wasting on no-click queries, and that's why Rand's data is so sort of compelling and sort of scary for us, because there's a lot of searches out there that can be satisfied directly on the SERPs. And you should be building up a strong connected entity or entities of your brand. And that's why I'm here to help you with today. But let's talk about CTR as a ranking factor, which is a pretty hot topic recently. I'm sure a lot of you saw the Ask Me Anything by Gary Ish on Reddit. And someone asked him, okay, lots of people are talking about rank brain, and does it take into consideration things like click-through rate, time on site? And it was quite a nice answer from Gary, who said, dwell time, CTR, whatever Fishkin's new theory is, those are generally made up crap. Nice response. And I read this and I thought, okay, there's a bit of miscommunication, maybe some misunderstanding. And then someone found a Google document saying that when you click a link on Google, Google will consider this when they rank that search result in the future. Okay, what's going on? And then this led to a lot of articles being posted like, CTR is a ranking factor, or CTR is not a ranking factor. Okay, so who should I listen to? And the answer is, listen to yourself, yeah? Listen to me. Even if CTR isn't a ranking factor, you should still be spending your effort and time in improving it. If CTR was a ranking factor, Google definitely wouldn't tell you, because it would be heavily manipulated. And it would also be far too unreliable, and I'll go into that later. And it would rely on algorithm trust, because even Google can't 100% trust that they made the right decision in ranking those results as well. Also, clicks don't always equal searcher satisfaction. What is satisfaction anyway? Is it a short visit? Is it a long visit? Is it a no-click? Did someone come onto my site and then refine their query? Yes, so that's why CTR is it's too noisy as a metric to consider for ranking. But basically, your job as an SEO should not stop at ranking for those keywords. Your goal is to bring relevant users to your site and help them find what they're looking for, help them achieve that goal. And when you bear this in mind, rather than CTR as a ranking factor, then you're going to be fine. So satisfy the user's intent. Don't just increase CTR for the sake of it. Yeah. And that's why my talk is called Driving Meaningful Clicks with Enriched SERPs, and not just driving clicks. So bring the visitors that want to be on your website. So here's a number 4 ranking for guacamole recipe. And I've chose this because it has a rich result telling me that it's less calories, it's less time to cook, and that's the right one for me. So rather than going onto the page and then bouncing back and having a short visit that's going to negatively impact my engagement metrics, I'm bringing a more relevant session to my site. Also, using enriched SERPs, you can be outrankers to the click as well if you're providing more content that's more useful and more relevant. Also, things like feature snippets that get you to the top result. That's such great brand awareness for you and your company. Now, first of all, there's so much that we can learn from looking directly on the SERPs, because Google has so much more data than you, and they know what people are looking for, and we can use that to our advantage. So first of all, let's look at these searcher intents in their purest forms. I'm going to zip through these because there's quite a few. So transactional. So I want to fulfill a specific action. I want to spend some cash money maybe, and the SERP feature that's going to be shown is usually heavily monetized, like ads and shopping results. But also you get knowledge graph results and feature snippets. Answer, I'm looking for a direct response to a question, and I need fast data. And these are usually those sort of heavy, rich knowledge cards provided by Google. These are my least favorite, and these are the ones that you should avoid, because if there is no intent to actually click on the page, then you're just going to lose. Research, I'm looking for more information, and that's why you see these feature snippets. It's better than an answer intent because, you know, they can't be satisfied with one result. They need to learn more about what they're looking for. Local, like maybe I'm looking for a specific service, I'm using geomodifiers, I'm using locations, and then we see great local knowledge panels and map packs. Visual, like I want inspiration for something. I'm going to use image search, and then we get a lot of videos and image packs. Also, a lot of how-to keywords trigger things like that. Freshness and news is another intent. I'm looking for topics that are going on right now, and then we see these carousels, these top stories. And brand, so someone's looking for your brand, they want to navigate directly to that. Okay, but hey, Izzie, what do I do with all this information? Basically, you need to identify intents based on what Google considers their intent, and learn from the search features that they are displaying. Not just by analyzing those keywords. Use that research to optimize your content. This is great inspiration for you out there. A tip, don't forget to combine intents. Of course, someone might be looking for a transactional research and things like that. Next point, stop wasting time chasing those no-click queries, the ones that sort of fuel Rand's terrifying data. So pure answer intent, like when was Jurassic Park released, for example, because even though a lot of people are searching for this, there is no chance that you're going to be present in that search feature. And yeah, that's why we see this scary sort of data. So in general, when it comes to your keyword targeting strategies this year, just forget those unsustainable, pure answer intent queries. Check if the intent can be directly met on the SERP with this sort of query, and if so, you can also avoid that. It's a waste of time and your resources. The mid and long tail has always been lucrative, but now more than ever, it's worth like a big focus and a big push. And in order to find problems with your CTR, you should also understand how Google and Google Search Console reports this data. So something that's quite obvious that people sort of miss out on is that they sort of go down and across on the SERPs. So there's number 1, there's number 2, position 3, which is a carousel that's been clustered as position 3. And if there are like 7 more results on the SERP, then this position up here is going to be tracked as position 11. And now when you're looking at this reporting data, maybe, oh crap, I'm ranking number 11, what can I do? But it's so prominent to be up there, that's where you want to go. So once you know this, you can bear that in mind and really dig into the SERPs and how your results are being displayed. So aim to rank above the fold as a benchmark because pure position ranking data is becoming more and more irrelevant. So aim to get above this when the user first views the SERP. Next tip, be present and proud in those local intent SERPs, so those map packs. It's one of the last best prominent organic features. Even when I'm not searching with geomodifiers or things like near me, if Google considers that this is a local intent query, they're going to display these map packs. So when I search for beer in Munich, it's showing me pubs, of course. And when at Sixt Rent-A-Car, when we get into the local pack, it has such a great benefit on our incoming traffic and revenue because we're jumping up from organic and we're getting directly there. We have the social proof because of our reviews. And just for this one URL, it's increased so much in traffic and revenue. So that's really something you should be focusing on as well if you have actual locations. But yes, it does require love. So these are the type of steps that we stick to at Sixt. So of course, the obvious stuff, claiming your Google My Business listing and having consistent NAP, so name, address, phone number. Having those enriched profiles with all the content you can grab, like relevant images and useful business descriptions, like where are you located and things like that. Also, if you have a connected deep URL, and make sure that that page is strongly optimized. Also, what's kind of cool that we discovered is that the amount of reviews had a good impact on getting into the local pack and the percentage of reviews responded to. So make sure that you're also dealing with any negative reviews or also just thanking the good ones as well. Also, if you rank for best plus type queries, this is epic because it's got that social proof there and that prominence. And what I mean by this is if someone searches for best plus a service, Google will then filter the local pack as 4 stars and above. And then you're right up there. And so, work with your teams on really promoting the usage and driving of good ratings and reviews to get up there. Next step, structured data is your friend some of the time. And structured data basically provides, this great machine-readable context and meaning to all the wonderful data you have on your website. So as a human, we know what's going on with this data about this game Fallout 3. And also, we know the connections going on there. And there's a lot of different ways of connecting entity data, especially with the beautiful knowledge graph out there. But in order to make it fully understandable by search engines, they gave us schema.org. And that's how it's looking in its beautiful format to provide that classification to search engines that they can work with. It also helps us build rich results. Now, Kenichi is later going to talk about how you can drive more rich snippets and rich results, but here is just a few examples of what is out there that you can use. At Sixt, we have really nice rich snippets that showed that our position 1, and on average, the CTR is increased 85% than just plain normal snippets. So it's a really good uplift in driving your traffic. But also, it brings more engaged traffic as well. So what we found was that these people, because they were seeing like product rich snippets as well, that the bounce rate went down, the time on site was increasing, they were spending more time, and they were converting more. So that's really good, meaningful traffic that you should be aiming to drive. But the problem is structured data also feeds Google's knowledge graph. And this can be quite harmful because the more data you feed to Google, the more that they can use it and display those rich cards, those really enhanced results. So just an example of some knowledge panels out there. So place, a thing, like a food thing with nutritional information, and for your company. So they also have data that they grab from sources like Wikipedia as well. But make sure that you enrich your entities, because if Google's going to steal data, make sure they steal the right data. So owning your entities and making sure that all of your NAP information is correct and that it's aligned across all these different sources. And also using things like local business organization structured data. And for things like entity carousels, which is what I call this thing, if someone's looking for a type of service, you want to be in this carousel, and you do that by providing that organization structured data and by enriching your entity. So these are just some quick tips on how you can do that. So Wikipedia listing parity with what's actually going on in your company, claiming your knowledge panels using your Google Search Console account as well, social profile alignment, and yeah. Also, it's quite obvious, but providing a square logo with your actual name in the middle just helps you stand out, because enterprise there, they just look like ERP, and it's kind of crappy. Next step, target and win feature snippets that have transactional intent. Emily's going to be talking a lot about feature snippets after me, so I'm just going to zip through, but I think they're pretty sexy. And if you aim for like research feature snippets with that transactional intent, you can really drive traffic to your site that's going to convert. But making them clickable provides additional love. So make sure that you're bulking out your feature snippet list so that you get this like more items tag on there. Use buzzwords in the headlines. Make sure that also getting that image placement there. Here's an example of Europe car stealing my image spot. Just make sure your images are compressed and relevant. Also, comparison queries are perfect for feature snippets because people are researching with transactional intent in mind. Here's another nice CTR curve. So our rich snippet results versus featured snippets. And even though the rich result was better on position 1 in terms of CTR, the feature snippet, of course, drives more CTR when it's lower down. So when my organic ranking is lower. Also, last year at Brighton, I spoke about feature snippets. You can get the slides there if you want to hear more about my case studies from Sixt. Also, you can provide on-page optimizations that really enrich your standard snippets. Let's not forget that a lot of our results also look like this. What we like to do also is work with our PPC teams on seeing what content they're using in their ad copy that increases CTR as well. So work with them when you build your titles and provide your meta descriptions. Nice tip, mobile image thumbnails are really on the rise, so invest now. It's a great way to stand out in mobile. I'm talking about these beautiful things up here. There's a nice little chart here from Rank Ranger about how many SERPs in the US have these image thumbnails, and it's 75%, which is crazy, right? So you can really do this now on getting those image thumbnails. So check your queries in Search Console that drive, I say drive a lot, right? I just realized. Check your queries with the highest mobile device impression share. You can use Google DevTools with Google SERPs to see how they look in mobile, or you can also use your device, whatever's fast. If they look crappy, then sort of enrich that content with some nice relevant images that you think will enhance how you look in the mobile SERP. Also, sometimes Google's taking the Open Graph image for this mobile thumbnail, so make sure that those are relevant and optimized as well. Another tip, HTML tables are epic. I love them for feature snippet optimization and for enhancing your classic snippets as well. It's giving you additional 2 or 3 lines of SERP real estate, and these days that's so valuable. So in this case, just a basic table on the page has won me a feature snippet and this wonderful structured description below it. Another tip, site links are a great achievable snippet enrichment. So all you need to do to get these nice one-line site links on the SERPs is just by providing these jump links on your landing page and making sure that they have sort of relevant names as well in the HTML. Also, this is so useful for things like long-form content pages and those holistic pages as well. Combine all those techniques together, right? So incorporate these strategies, these SERP feature-winning techniques into your content briefings and your page templates, and then it's just sort of like a one-step process, and you're going to keep achieving those beautiful enrichments organically. So, too long didn't read. I've run out of time, guys, so I'm just going to zip through the the next steps for you. You can take a photo. I will be sharing the slides. Yeah, so incorporate all of these into your strategies. And in terms of driving CTR, that's how easy it is sometimes. Thank you. And good luck.
Thanks so much.